뭐였지?
The Toyota C-HR has split opinions in love or hate design-wise, but with this new generation, Toyota really wants to attack the compact SUV segment. Will it work? We'll find out together with Thomas Nautical in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go here with the special version, the GR Sport, that has sportier accentuations in the lower part with this honeycomb style right here, a stronger, sportier, lower intake area as well. And the overall design, you can see, it is kinda special and unique, but at the same time, I feel it will be less splitting opinion than the predecessor. Or what do you think? The length at 4.36 m or 172 inches, so that's not a big change if you compare the predecessor. Interesting here how they play with the design lines right there. Wheels from 17 to optional 20 inch. Look at how they integrated these horizontally drawn tail lamps into some kind of rear wing for the whole rear, right? Then when you have the welcome or goodbye signature, the Toyota C-HR logo in the central rear part is also illuminated. And with the GR Sport trim, you get the badge here and also this honeycomb indentations in the lower part for an even sportier look. How do you like the new rear styling? Tell me in the comments. By the way, on the technology side, so the inbuilt hybrid battery is placed below the rear bench. We can also see it here in our cutaway model. And if you want to go for an all-wheel drive, there is an all-wheel drive option here for the inbuilt hybrid, and then you have an additional electric motor between the rear wheels, so at the rear axle, and that is only active when there is wheel spin in the front, so when there's traction loss. So predominantly it will still be front-wheel driven, just then in these all-wheel drive situations, maybe like on snow and so on, if you really need it. Turning indicators in the front, ooh, that's really fancy, right? Love that. Such a cool design, but I think the rear turning indicators, they are a little bit disappointing, aren't they? Paint-wise, you also have two contrasting options. You can get the roof here in black, or you can also, for this contrast plus option, you can get the whole rear in a black contrast. Again, you don't have to go for it. You could also take the whole vehicle in the same paint. By the way, here we have a silver vehicle for you, but we also have a golden one or a red one. Which one do you like best? Here, these door handles, they come up like this, otherwise they are flush, and then door closing sound is pretty weird. So they didn't pay attention to that. Then inside of the doors, so the top part is soft touch. Then in the GR Sport trim, we also have microfiber here with the red racy-like contrast stitches, hard pink in the lower part, and one more time these honeycomb structures here, together with the GR entry badge. Also the GR Sport gets this special steering wheel with red contrast stitches. Steering wheel material base, or this one is always, by the way, in a animal-free material, and Toyota has tested this, and they say it is actually more durable, has less abrasion than the animal skin material. Seats are animal free in the base fabric, and also here in this GR Sport trim, microfiber on the inside, and you have this integrated head restraint. Look pretty cool. By the way, you can slide this one like this, so that is then better for tall adults. And although it's a quite small vehicle, you sit really well here in the sport seats. They hold you tight, good comfort, and it works with tall adults, 189 or 6'2", no problem. Interior cockpit overview, of course, fully new. Instruments in 12.3 inch, always fully digital, like this styling here with the RPM meter. Screen on the right side, either 8 inch, a smaller one, or the optional 12.3 inch widescreen here. For the volume, you have still here these manual buttons and also on-off. And you also still have a manual climate unit, like that straightforward user interface. And you also have real buttons at the steering wheel, for example here for the cruise control. And you can also get a head-up display. This is a proper one that is projected into the windscreen. Toyota now offers actually a decently quick infotainment system, and they overall kept it pretty simple here from the menu structure and so on. Most of the time you will use Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and they promise now both is wireless. Because of the rear design, the view to the rear window is kind of limited. That's why they equipped it here with the digital camera mirror. And then you have oh, that's a nice view here to the ocean at Ibiza. In the lower area, you also have a heated steering wheel, separate button. Then you have here the inductive charging pad. Cup holders are not adaptive though. And to put in the gears, you have this stairs system, so to speak. Armrest, that is the thing that is not that good from the build quality. The rest is actually pretty cool. And then here more space underneath and more USB-C charging. The rear door doesn't open too wide, all the way hardpack. This is where the price is also explained, so to speak. As said, it's short, but however, the usage of space not too bad. That's also better here. Although it's just like a voluminous sport seat, it fits directly for 4 tall adults, I would say. Gets closer with the knees, headroom also close, but actually works. As for the trunk, hey, we also have an electric hatch. 420 liters here with all-wheel drive, 10 liters more without all-wheel drive, and 70 liters less with a plug-in hybrid. But here you can see luggage fits in very well. The width is 1 meter or 40 inches in this back area, a little bit slimmer here, and the length is about 30 inches or 80 centimeters. 1/3, 2/3 split here for the rear bench. Then you have this step here. Toyota follows a hybrid engine concept here. You get a 1.8 liter hybrid with around 140 horsepower, 10 seconds in the acceleration figure. This one here, the 2 liter hybrid with around 200 horsepower, then about 8 seconds in the acceleration figure. That one also available with the optional all-wheel drive in the rear. And the plug-in hybrid version, 2 liter plug-in hybrid, that's possible. Also only front-wheel drive, around 220 horsepower, quickest with 7 seconds in the acceleration figure. And that one gets a 14 kilowatt hour gross battery. Thomas' driving lounge. Let's put it to the sport mode here and acceleration 0 to 60. Let's go. Plop, that's it. Pretty nice actually. So what has Toyota done here? They have actually upgraded their hybrid drive, so it's a new generation, and together with engine tweaks and so on, you actually don't have that big effect anymore that you have this like this. Yes, you still hear it, but not as much as with the previous generation. You have more power. At the same time, the engine acts in a calmer way. Of course, again, when you hit it all the way through with the throttle, you still hear that. But for most situations, the engine will definitely act calmer. This one here, driving the 2 liter hybrid, it will be like a split, you know. So some will go for the 1.8, lower entry price. Some will go for the 2 liter hybrid. Just depends on how much power you really need. Acceleration difference then, as I said, is that you have with one around 10 seconds in the acceleration figure and with the other one around 8 seconds, so 2 seconds in the difference then. Just a plug-in hybrid then with around 7 seconds is a little bit quicker even, but plug-in hybrid probably for most use cases won't make that much sense. Here in the sport mode, of course, the acceleration pedal is a little more enhanced and so on, but usually you would leave it in the normal mode like that. And it's actually pretty silent in here, I have to say, especially if you compare it to the previous generation or other past Toyota models. So they've worked on the noise insulation on this model here especially. They want to make it like a more premium approach, especially for the European market. That was the goal behind everything. Wider track, also more rigid chassis, so they've optimized everything they could. Steering is actually pretty good, so you don't have any dead zone area. Very good reaction here also, so at the same time it's comfortable to steer, so you don't have to steer too much. When you are here in this normal mode, let's just hear the difference once again. Here just calmly cruising, then it's not too loud, you know, so it's actually okay. Remember, this always works as a planetary gearbox, so it's called eCVT, but it's not working in the classic CVT sense. However, you don't have classic gear shifts. That's the reason also why it always sounds like that. But I really have to say, in this generation, definitely sounds better than before. Then assistance systems, look at that here. Active lane keeping assist. Let's test that. I've set the cruise control. It's also adaptive cruise control. There was a good reaction there in that corner. So let's see how hectic or how calm the steering remains. So far, actually, so good. This is another thing they also worked on. This has more elaborated assistance systems, and they also added more assistance systems as standard here. Let's see here, just paying attention. There we go. Yeah, it's actually quite well done so far. Because in older Toyotas, maybe that wasn't the best system, but here it's actually pretty cool. Look at that. Yeah, and at the same time, you can always take over yourself and also really quickly deactivate here, for example, the active lane keeping assist with one button click on the steering wheel. That's how I like it. Yeah, I like that straightforward approach. And sometimes maybe you have a road that say, hey, I want to take the steering myself and I want just some nice sportier driving. And then you can easily deactivate that. That's pretty cool. The seats here are doing a good job. They're good in comfort, also long term. They're holding me tight. They're taking weight off the lower lumbar area. So I'm really happy with these seats here. They work both in the sporty and also in the comfortable sense, and they make this, indeed, some kind of premium experience. Everything is premium with this vehicle, but they've really added a lot of nice premium features. And I just have to say, I really like how the steering performs and so on. So far, the road is kind of even suspension-wise, although we have 20-inch wheels mounted. It's very good comfort. We'll soon also test it when the road is a little bit more destroyed and so on, and see how the result is there. As for the hybrid drive system, when you accelerate, especially accelerate harder, then always the combustion engine is on. However, if I lift my foot off the throttle, directly goes to the EV mode, RPM drop to 0, and even then I can slightly accelerate and it stays in the EV mode. This will predominantly be used in the city, for example, but even here, when the road is going a little bit downhill, goes to the EV mode. When I'm a little bit more on the throttle, goes back again. And because the engine is now more silent, you hardly hear or feel these transitions. So it's really seamless, very smooth transitions between the EV mode and the combustion engine mode. That's definitely well done, and it also helps with the fuel economy, less CO2 output in the city, and just better for the pocket. This inbuilt Toyota hybrid system really works. And let's put it one more time here to the sport mode for some agile driving and some nice corners. As I said, the steering is really likable, very precise, very direct. 20-inch wheels here together with the frequency adaptive dampers. Again, they don't get stiffer in the sport mode or something, but they react on the different impact they get actually. And so far, when the road is even, is good. Just when there are some bumps in the road, then you feel the 20-inch wheels. So if you want more comfort on destroyed roads, you definitely should stick with smaller wheels. Here, when you have the all-wheel drive or plug-in hybrid, you also have the bigger brakes, by the way, just because of the added weight. But the brake feel itself is also really nice. Remember, they also have to do this brake blending because they also have the regenerative braking when you're in this, in this first moment of braking. But it's actually fine. Also, a very smooth transition of that. The car is fun to drive, definitely, especially because of steering and suspension setup. Really cool here also in the corners, especially with the 2-liter engine here. You have some good accelerating out of the corners. The all-wheel drive, as I said earlier, is not there to support the sporty driving. It's just active when you have wheel spin, so when you're driving on snow and so on. But here, even when I do some performance driving, the all-wheel drive doesn't really play a role. So you only should get the all-wheel drive if you really need it in countries where you have these harsh winter conditions. You often have snow and very slippery roads and so on. Then it actually makes sense. Overall, it's very good fun and very refined driving experience, as I would describe it. Competitor is, of course, the VW T-Roc, or if you want to stay Toyota internally but want a more versatile, more spacious small SUV, there's the Corolla Cross.